Başlıyor.
One year has passed since we last celebrated International Market Research Day. A year since we experienced a tectonic disruption in all our lives. It has been hard for every person and every business. It continues to be difficult for many of us. But in hardship, we see a silver lining and glimmers of hope. 1 year wiser, we now understand this virus, and through its effects, ourselves better. Separation and isolation have made us value human connections more. Working from home has made us resilient. We have innovated to achieve our goals. We are getting there, but not yet. We must still persevere. We learn to compensate through our digital ingenuity. Insights has been there all the way, teaching us to measure and anticipate the shifts across all sectors of our economies. The rush to e-commerce, the turning upside down of business models, Insights has been there. As we rediscover our surroundings, teaching us about our capacity for solidarity, showing us the way in shifting to greener, healthier forms of transportation, and supported decision makers to make bold choices they were too scared to make before. Insights has helped us to understand the mental impact of COVID-19 measures, to demonstrate how young and old could overcome the pain of separation, guided governments to communicate better. Although some things worked out for the better, we still have a lot to achieve. We are experts in finding ways to protect. But now, it is time to act. Let's build a better future together through insights. Let's celebrate the International Market Research Day from the 3rd to the 7th of May.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to this week of celebration of market research, insights, and data analytics. I hope that wherever you are in the world, on whatever channel you're joining us today, that you're all safe and well. I think that opening video is probably one that reminds us that while many countries are looking at a horizon which is now COVID-free, many countries are still stuck in the ravages of the disease. So I do hope that if you are joining us, as I said, you and your families and your businesses are safe and well. International Market Research Day, when it was first conceived by TUAD, the Association of Market Researchers in Turkey, was a wonderful initiative. It gives us a point in the calendar year which we can all convene around. We can come together as a family to celebrate everything that we have done. And over the course of the past number of years, IMRD, International Market Research Day, has grown and grown and grown. And indeed, this year, because the day itself fell on a Sunday, we thought it might be appropriate to have an entire week of events celebrating all that we do and how we have contributed to building a bigger, better, and brighter future for all of us involved in the profession. That has resulted this week in more than 39 organizations putting on in excess of 76 different events. So I really would like to start by sending an extremely big and warm thank you to all of our partner organizations, all of the contributors all over the world who are helping to make this week just the most extraordinary week in celebrating what we do and in looking towards how we build that brighter future as we look to the horizon post-COVID. Indeed, our sector is at its strongest when we work together. And I think over the course of the past 12 to 14 months, as the pandemic grew in strength and force in different countries and different regions around the world, the efforts that we made as a community to reach out to everyone who's involved in this business were, quite simply put, extraordinary. Whether it was from helping our interviewers in India to ensuring that employment contracts in the US were honored and maintained, every single country in every region came together to help and to protect and to support our industry going forward. Now, I think that underlines for me the fact that COVID simply reinforced our need to be human, to be respectful, and to be generous. I think it has given us all a renewed value of family and of friends, as we've all been stuck behind digital screens for so long. We are social animals. We seek and we love and we enjoy interaction with other people. But having had to do that from behind a screen, I think has made us value who we are as people and who we are as a community to a much greater extent than ever before. And most importantly, I think in that regard, research is done by people. The results and the insights are communicated by people and to people. And for those who use those insights to improve their businesses, their governments, or their societies, they too are people who have to implement that and who therefore value the interaction that we bring. And it is that power, that people power, if you like, the value of the interactions and the relationships and the strength of understanding between all of the sides that contribute to both the generation and the implementation of insights that we wish to celebrate in this coming week. It is a community that I have always said I've been hugely proud to be a part of. And I'm delighted that this week we have such a fabulous calendar and diary of events celebrating everything that we do all over the world. Now, today we're streaming through all of the social media channels as well as on all the various websites that you would traditionally see us on. So we at Esomar have also had to try and update and digitize, if you like, to a much greater degree than we have in the past. So for those of you watching, for those of you listening, whether it's live or on demand afterwards, please do let us know what you think of this new, if you like, omni-channel approach that we're trying to bring to you, all of the good things, as I said, that have been planned. But most importantly, because we are a group, a community that are so warmly embedded with each other, please do take the opportunity this week to shout out in all of the channels available to you what it is that we do. Be proud of what it is that we've done, and make sure that we shout out about what an incredibly important role we now have in building that future that we now see on the horizon. I'm also delighted, by the way, this morning to have a number of glitterati with me. So now, at an ungodly hour of the morning, can I please ask you to extend a very warm word of welcome to our new president, Miss Kristen Luck, who's coming to us, as I said, it's very early in the morning, from the West Coast, or as they call it, the best coast of the United States. So, Kristen, over to you.
Great, thank you, Finn. Yes, I think I am officially the first person on the West Coast of the States celebrating IMRD. So I'm happy to be up with you all. It's very early in the morning here, about 1:30 a.m. But it was important for me to be online and live with you all. Last year, when we were celebrating this day, I don't think any of us really truly understood how dramatically our industry would evolve over the past 12 months. And I was thinking this last week about my last trip to Amsterdam before the pandemic hit, where I was sitting in a bar with Joaquin Brecha after what at the time we didn't know, but it would be our last in-person council meeting for his term. And he and I talked extensively about how fortunate we both were to travel as we did and to connect with colleagues all over the world, and that we felt truly like citizens of the world. And just a few months later, the world and our industry came to a near standstill. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that, to Finn's point, looking on the last days of 2019 and the early months of 2020, I wish I attended a research conference that I had decided to skip, or that I hadn't skipped a conference session in favor of a conference call. Or decided that an extra hour of sleep was more important than another round of drinks with colleagues from around the world at Esomar Congress in Edinburgh. But here we are, evolved, to Finn's point. We've been transformed by the pandemic. Many of us had to learn to cook for the first time, or maybe it was just me. We spent a lot of time with family, probably too much time for some of you. We're experts now at Zoom, many of us from watching really horrific mistakes on Instagram or TikTok videos. But most importantly, as an industry, we've really learned how to improvise, how to adapt, and perhaps most importantly, how to collaborate both locally and globally to stay afloat. Now, whether you thrived in 2020 or you just survived, IMRD is a week, not just a day, worth celebrating, because you made it, we made it. And regardless of lockdowns, of closed borders, and business travel at a standstill, I believe that our industry is more connected than ever before. Finn shared a few examples of ways that our industry has kind of reached across borders to help each other, and I'll share a few more. Patrick Olshatsky's Crisis Connections that he launched very early on, that connected research firms in distress with volunteer coaches and advisors, to the Esomar Foundation's support of the researchers in need in Lebanon after the blast in Beirut, to partnerships forming between firms that prior to COVID maybe would have been considered competitors. I'm proud to be part of such a resilient industry that really rises up to help each other. I think the good news too is that we also beat the projections. Although Esomar originally predicted up to a 22% downturn in research revenues in 2020, we ended up with a stronger third and fourth quarter than we predicted, netting us at what we're estimating is just going to be a 6% decline. And that demonstrates not only our ability to adapt our businesses and research methods quickly, but it's evidence that research truly serves as a guiding light as the world navigates really turbulent times. That said, I know members in many regions of the world are still struggling. Our colleagues in India are being hit with a second terrible wave of this pandemic. Researchers in Myanmar are suffering through destabilization of the government and ongoing protests there. And it's really illuminating the realities of food insecurity, financial instability, and some real impact on their well-being. In Latin America, which reported the largest drop in turnover for the insights industry, many countries are still struggling through business recovery, with a return to 2019 turnovers not forecasted until nearly 2024. So not for quite some time. But I think what has also been illuminated over the last year is that there are a few key behaviors this industry adopted to survive, and which we need to continue to embrace as if we're going to continue to weather this downturn or one in the future. And the first is to think globally and not locally. And that's not just a saying. I think with closed borders and many countries experiencing a rise in nationalism, my own included here in the US, we recognize the importance of Esomar truly serving as your window to the world. And I hope our programming this week reflects that. Secondly is really focusing on innovation. This pandemic is fueling the industry's revolution. It's serving as an accelerator to the dynamic shift we're already seeing between digital or technology focused segments of the industry and the more established market research segments. And then lastly, and most importantly, is collaboration. Partnerships open up additional sales channels, and they can also bring major sales and co-marketing opportunities. I really can't stress enough how important it is for us all to stay connected to the outside world and share industry developments. Let's keep our networks, our communities, and our discussions alive this year. So this week, I hope you'll join me in celebrating an industry that has once again, to Finn's point, proven its resiliency, its ability to innovate under duress, and above all, its unwavering commitment to illuminating the contribution and the value of insights, data, and analytics. Together, I believe that we're really, truly creating a brighter and better future. So here's to our global research community. Happy International Market Research Day. I look forward to celebrating with you all throughout this week. Back over to Finn.
Thank you, Kristen. And if you didn't, if you weren't convinced of it before, I think Kristen's words just underline, our own, as she said, the incredible resilience that occasionally we perhaps don't often look in the mirror enough and appreciate how we do come through these extraordinary challenges and help others to come through the same challenging period. Thank you, Kristen. I think the other point, by the way, which also cannot afford to be stressed enough throughout the entire week, is the partnerships that have grown and flourished throughout this time. Whether it's partnerships with other companies, whether it's partnerships with other associations, whether it's partnerships with people, we've all banded together. And I think none more importantly, because they were, of course, the founder of this particular day, is TUAD, the Turkish Market Research Association. So now I'd like to hand the microphone over to the president of TUAD, to Yener, to give you a few words of welcome from the wonderful country of Turkey. Yener, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Finn, for your kind words. And thank you, Kristen, for your great speech that inspired us. It was approximately 3 years ago. We were sitting in the boardroom and one of our members offered to celebrate International Market Research Day and 2nd of May, right? So we were so excited. We were so excited that was gonna be a great chance that all researchers from all over the world can get together, share their insights, and get bigger, get better. But we were, of course, not aware that we're gonna have this pandemic. Things are gonna get worse. But if the things get worse, what we do? We give a hug to each other, right? We get closer. Now we are bigger. Now we're better because we are closer. We are closer. We are close with now Australia, now with West Coast, right? with Asia, Middle East, Europe, all over the continents. Now, like we are 500 people watching this stream. It's so excited. We are proud to be part of this organization right now. So we shared that this initiative with Finn and with his team, with the president of Esomar, and they were so excited as well. Since that time, we're celebrating this week as International Market Research Week, right? It starts with 2nd of May and continues 1 week. This is important because what I believe is we are not in research business. We are in understanding business. We need to understand people. And in order to understand, you need to stand. If you need to verstehen, you have to stehen, right? You have to stand. You have to stop and think. So we were in rat race before pandemic because everything is needed yesterday, right? All the research numbers, all the data is needed yesterday. So we need to be really in furious performance. We have to be fast, and we were in rat race. But now we stopped, we stand, and we had the chance to think because of pandemic. So as TUAT and as Esomar, what we do is we try to convert this pandemic into the opportunity of getting all together from researchers from all over the world. This is a great chance. This is a great chance that we can stand for thinking. It's a great chance that we can stand together. In 1857, Charles Darwin wrote in his book, Origin of Species, that we survive not because we're the smartest. We survive because we can socially adapt. In pandemic, after pandemic, we're gonna survive because we can socially stand together. We can network each other from all over the world. We can share our insights throughout this week, and we share our insights to see how we can understand our shareholders, our families, our colleagues, our consumers, our clients better. This is gonna be a great chance for Esomar, for TUAT, and for all researchers from all over the world. We are proud of being the part of this organization. So I would like to thank all the researchers that are awake, maybe 1 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning, like Kristen, or it's late night, maybe at, I don't know, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. or whatever the time is. Now you're on the screen, sharing the insights, watching the insights, getting inspired and inspired. So thank you for coming. Thank you for participating. Again, one big thank you for Christian, for Finn, and for all Kim, and for all Esomar organization that bring all together. They bring us all together. Happy International Market Research Day. Greetings, warm greetings from TUAT.
Thank you, Yenner. Wonderful words, as always. So thank you very much for those lovely warm words to us all. Now, inevitably, looking at the week ahead, the amount of work that has been done or had to be collated and put into place by a team of people who really worked their hearts out to ensure that the week would be as fruitful and as contributory as they could possibly make it. A couple of them are on the call today. So to Dominique, to Pinar, to Kim, to Vincent and the team behind them, thank you. But also a huge number of representatives from all over the world came up with concepts and ideas for events during this week. So with that in mind, I'd now like to extend a very warm welcome and ask you all please to welcome to the microphone, in addition, Elvan, who is our representative in Turkey, and again would like to underline their welcome from that wonderful country. So Elvan, the microphone is yours.
So, thank you very much, Ben. It's been a great start, actually. I appreciate everybody's input in this, and happy International Research Day, everyone. I'm very, very happy to see all the researchers from all around the world today. I'm very excited today to be part of this opening ceremony, which is very well organized by Esomar. And thank you, Esomar, and also thank you, Pınar, who is our Turkey TÜYAD representative. And well, actually, we have been facing very difficult times due to the pandemic. Everybody in the world, every researcher, but being a researcher in the pandemic is tough and challenging. But it's also very satisfying to know that you lead people, you lead the business world and decision makers with data and information that they need. And uh, on the other side, it's very nice to see them that the decision makers are also aware that they need the data and the information to make decisions. So it's a win-win situation. And in this period of time, one more time, I have seen the resiliency and the agility of our industry in this period. The industry has looked, analyzed, and taken actions very rapidly to survive and to help the clients. And in general, I would like to share my learnings today over the past 25 years for being a researcher. This morning, as Finn said, I have looked in the mirror and asked myself, what did being a researcher have taught me personally? And first of all, I would like to say that what I have learned is priceless. To sum up, I have learned to be more and more patient every day. It has taught me to be
Well, as always with technology, something inevitably wakes up on a Monday morning just to cause us all a great challenge. So I'm sorry that Elvin has just dropped off the call, but clearly, as you heard her begin to say, and as will be a theme I think throughout this week, the importance of understanding who we are, what we do, and in real terms appreciating the resilience that we have all shown over the course of the last 14 months is really the point of International Market Research Day, as well as perhaps setting ourselves some new goals and ensuring that we can continue to contribute to understanding all of the changes in people's lives, in consumer behavior, and indeed in the ways that we do business going forward. There's an interesting expression which is, when you have more than enough, don't build a higher fence, but instead build a longer table. And I think the knowledge and the understanding that we have gained over the course of the last number of months, looking at how people's patterns of living and buying and usage of things have changed, that we probably have more than enough information to be able to contribute meaningfully, as we always have, to designing that future for this sector and for all of the people who rely on the data and the insights that we produce. Now, if you look at the chat, the other thing, by the way, that I'm just really thrilled about are the huge variety of people coming from all over the world, from all of the 5 continents, 6 continents, if you more recently agreed to count them as. But there are people from all over the world joining in today, which again says to me, and I think says to all of the organizers, that not only is International Market Research Day an important date to keep in our calendar, But every now and then, for us to get together and to celebrate all of the things that we've done is equally as important. Now, during the course of this coming week, as I said, you will see a number of different events planned by a number of different people, companies, and associations. And by the way, on that front, let me give a big shout out to both the Dutch and the Australians, who I think have organized conferences next week and are inviting people who attend RMID to join them as well. But I think the most important thing is, if you think you have a case study or an example of how research has contributed in a meaningful way to whatever, it might be a small business, it might be a government, it might be a big business. But if you think you've got a case study that you'd like to share, then please do so. Share it at your local association meetings, share it at an Esomar conference, share it at a webinar with us. But importantly, share it, shout out about it, and make sure that we continue to underline the extraordinary contribution that this sector makes going forward. Now, while I'm conscious that Elvan has left us, and I'm not sure whether we may be able to get her back online, I'm sure if we can get her back online. Elvan, I think I see you there, and I'm sorry because I took the microphone from you for a little bit. So let me hand the microphone back to Elvan now and let her finish her talk to us. Elvan, the microphone is yours.
Yes, I'm very sorry. It's the Murphy, I think. All of a sudden, my computer just shut down. Well, anyway, I was saying that I looked in the mirror and I learned, I asked myself, what did I learn when being a researcher during the last years? And I thought that I learned to be patient more and more every day, analytic. I have become more resilient over time. I have learned empathy, what empathy is to the stakeholders and shareholders at the same time, empathy to the public and all the other different opinion groups. I now have better communication skills and better relationships. I'm a good listener now, more and more. And a good observer. It has fulfilled my brain. I use my brain more often. I'm a full-time learner now. I believe that I have a purpose in life. And most importantly, I feel my contribution to the world's information and knowledge treasury. Actually, this is a very important thing for me. So I have, I think, there is no other occupation in life that would make me more and more happy than this, and more and more fulfilling than this. So I'd like to conclude my speech by saying that I'm a proud researcher, and happy International Market Research Day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Elvan. And so with those words, we are all proud researchers and proud analysts and data scientists. Perhaps that's the most appropriate phrase on which just to wrap up this opening session of IMRD. And be sure, by the way, to follow us on all of the social media channels, which you will see us on. Remember, too, to shout out loud about all of the great things that you're doing, wherever you are in the world, and the contributions that you're making. And an especially big, warm thank you to our speakers this morning, so to Kristen, to Jenner, and to Elvan. A huge thank you equally to the organizers that have put in all of the hard work behind this event, Dominique, Pinar, Kim, Alfonso, and all of the team that are ensuring that we can facilitate all of those meetings and discussions around the world. But most importantly, thank you to you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being in the sector. Thank you for being resilient and working through the hard times that we've come through. And for those of you that are still facing significant challenges in your countries because of this pandemic, our thoughts are with you. Hopefully our strength can be communicated via this to you. And just let us know if there's anything that we can do to help. Sometimes the phrase I use is, the answer will always be yes, just ask the question. So make sure that if there are things that we can do to help you or to support you in your evolution through this pandemic and out into a bigger, better, and brighter future, please just ask. So again, thank you to all of you for joining us. Have a wonderful International Market Research Day 2021. Be sure to attend all of the events and use those social media channels to shout out loud about the great things we do. Have a great week, everyone, and thank you.
1 year has passed since we last celebrated International Market Research Day. A year since we experienced a tectonic disruption in all our lives. It has been hard for every person and every business. It continues to be difficult for many of us. But in hardship, we see a silver lining and glimmers of hope. 1 year wiser, we now understand this virus, and through its effects, ourselves better. Separation and isolation have made us value human connections more. Working from home has made us resilient. We have innovated to achieve our goals. We are getting there, but not yet. We must still persevere. We learn to compensate through our digital ingenuity. Insights has been there all the way, teaching us to measure and anticipate the shifts across all sectors of our economies. The rush to e-commerce, the turning upside down of business models, Insights has been there. As we rediscover our surroundings, teaching us about our capacity for solidarity, showing us the way in shifting to greener, healthier forms of transportation, and supported decision makers to make bold choices they were too scared to make before. Insights has helped us to understand the mental impact of COVID-19 measures, to demonstrate how young and old could overcome the pain of separation, guided governments to communicate better. Although some things worked out for the better, we still have a lot to achieve. We are experts in finding ways to protect, but now it is time to act. Let's build a better future together through Insights. Let's celebrate the International Market Research Day from the 3rd to the 7th of May.